afternoon, Harding High School. Students, clap once if you can hear me. Clap twice if you can hear me. Clap 3 times if you can hear me. All right, thank you for joining us today for this assembly. A few expectations we want to share with you. We know that you are seated close together. We want to send the same message to all of you, and this is the best way to do this. So if you would, if you have a cell phone, please silence it. If you are tempted to talk to your neighbor, please look at them and say you're going to give us your undivided attention for the next 25 minutes. Your neighbor appreciates that. Thank you very much. Many of you, when you came in today, received some information. If you did not receive information, we will have that for you upon leaving. We have such great attendance today, and we are so happy that you're all here. We might have been a little bit short. So we are here today to make you aware of the seriousness of what's called distracted driving. Whether you are a driver or a passenger or a walker or a bike rider, it's a very serious topic. You've seen the public service announcements about texting and driving, talking on the phone and driving, drinking and driving. It's all distracted driving. Whether you are guilty of it, someone you know, or someone you see driving next to you. Distracted driving is all that plus more. Most of you will remember hearing about the tragedy that took place here in Central Ohio, September of 2013. That tragedy is the reason we're here today. We're here today to hear Maria's message. First, students, please watch and listen to a short video.
She loved life, and she lived it to the fullest.
She just had this light whenever you would talk to her. She brought so much light to everybody.
She was bigger in life. She was 5 foot nothing, 110 pounds, but she was like this dynamo. And when she come into the room, she would light it up.
This was the nicest person I've ever met in my life. Better person than I ever could be.
September 17th is a day that I will never forget. I hate that day. And it's a day that I lost my little girl.
I said, I love you, Maria. I love you more, Mom, and she slammed the door, and that's the last time I talked to her.
So at 2:25 in the morning, the dog started barking, and I heard a car door. And I said, thank God she's home.
The doorbell rings, and Dom went to answer it.
And I looked out the window, and I saw 7 policemen standing there, and one of them said chaplain. And as a dad, you know, you just know this isn't good.
That's a parent's worst nightmare.
He said, I don't know how to tell you this, but she was in a horrible accident tonight and she didn't make it.
There's been a tragedy impacting our 10DB family this morning, and we're sad to report that Dom Tiberi's 21-year-old daughter, Maria, died last night in a car accident along I-270.
It's been several months now, and to me, it's like 5 minutes ago. It seems like it just happened. I have a hard time not thinking about that night. It is a parent's worst nightmare, and that's the reason that we have done what we've done. Distracted driving, yeah, it's texting, it's playing on the phone. I mean, it's eating, it's putting makeup on, and we may never know what happened to her. Clearly something happened for her to hit a semi-truck at 53 miles an hour. We can either give up, stay in self-pity, or we can pick ourselves up and try to do something about this. I never wanted Maria to be a statistic. I want people to know that if it can happen to me and my family, it can certainly happen to your family. It is the #1 killer of the age group 8 to 24. I want to save lives. We want to save lives. We don't want to have any more tragedies.
It only takes a second to be distracted, and it can happen to anybody. Anybody. You look away, it can happen.
Good afternoon. My name is BJ Gruber, and I'm a lieutenant with the Marion Police Department. I coordinate our IMPACT program, which stands for Marion Police and Community Together. Before I introduce the next guest who will be up here talking today, I wanted to give a direct thank you to Dom Tiberi and the folks at Columbia Gas of Ohio, and I know that they have several other sponsors that make this event possible. How many students, just looking through here today, had the opportunity last year to try the distracted driving simulator that we brought here to the school? Got a few hands, yeah, that we're seeing there. So we've had the opportunity to get that into every one of the schools. When I got a phone call from Dom last year out of nowhere, he says, "Hey, we've got this $15,000 piece of equipment that we want to donate to you, and the only stipulation is that you get it into every school in Marion County," and we accomplished that. All 7 schools, including the alternative schools, Tri-Rivers, we were able to get that in front of all of the students out there. So please, real quick, give me a quick round of applause for Dom and all the people that sponsor his program. Thank you. Next, I'm going to introduce Officer Richard Wheeler with the Marion Police Department. Richard does a lot of traffic enforcement for Marion PD. He's been there since 2014, and he's got a story that he wants to share with you, something that happened right here in Marion that will hopefully help students in here understand the importance of distracted driving and the fact that you want to be safe and put those phones down when it's time to drive. Richard?
Let's see what time it is. Okay, good afternoon. I'm normally not awake at this time. I'm usually still sleeping, so. Like Lieutenant BJ said, my name's Richard Wheeler, been a police officer for about 3.5 years, coming up on 4. I'm gonna talk to you about a specific incident that I handled a few months ago. I was in on overtime working 2nd shift. I typically work 3rd shift. It was a pretty busy day, and then all of a sudden, we had a tone drop. When a tone drops, for us, it's an emergency call, whether it's domestic with weapons or something of that nature. We also get tone drops for some pretty serious injury crashes. So we get a tone drop, and I'm the only one available at the time, so I knew that I was gonna get sent to this call, and it comes out as a injury rollover crash on Mount Vernon Avenue, just before Forest Street, if you guys are familiar with that section of road. So I was on the west side of town, so I hit my lights and sirens, and I start going out there, and I was the first one to arrive on scene. And when we arrive on scene for the first time, especially on a car crash, we're taught to assess the situation, look for people that are injured, bleeding, look at the cars, see if there's an immediate danger there so we can get people away from it. And then when we roll up to a crash, we can typically look at the cars and say, okay, this is what happened. This car hit this car because, car 1 was going to the left or whatever the case is. But on this one, I was completely confused. I was like, how did this happen? Mount Vernon Avenue, it's got 3 lanes wide. You've got the 2 lanes, 1 eastbound, 1 westbound, then the suicide lane right in the middle of the turn lane. This car was completely flipped over on its top in the center turn lane. And as I'm looking around, I don't see any other cars. I don't see anything immediately that I see is damaged, and I'm completely confused about what happened. So I go up to the car and I see nobody's in there. Well, I look over to my left and then I see the driver is on the porch. So she's out of the car and she's sitting down drinking some water. So I go over there and talk to her. And she had just gotten off work. She worked at the hospital. She was probably early 40s, I would say, It's a female driver. And so I go over there and talk to her and make sure she's okay. She's got a couple of scratches on her, but that's pretty much it as far as the injuries go. So talking to her and doing my investigation, I ask her, I say, hey, what were you doing right before this crash happened? And she goes, well, I was driving down the street and I got a text message. I said, okay, what happened after that? She goes, well, I opened my phone and I started to read the text message. Okay, what happened after that? Next thing you know, I'm flipped over on the top of my car. So she didn't even begin to type a text message. And I asked her how long the text message was, and she actually showed me, and it was just a sentence. She said that she had looked down at her phone for a split second, and when she looked back up, she was into a telephone pole. And this section of road is more or less straight. It's a very, very slight jog to the right. You barely have to turn the steering wheel to negotiate this curve. So in that short period of time, a fraction of a second that she looked down to read that text message, she veered off to the right side of the road and she hit a telephone pole. And that's what caused her car to flip. And she was only doing estimated speed because there were witnesses that saw her that were behind her doing between 35 and 40 miles an hour. And just that speed and that short period of time that she was distracted caused her to hit a telephone pole and then flip her car over. The only thing that saved this young lady's life and from becoming more seriously injured was the fact that she had her seatbelt on. Her car was a complete mess. The top was crunched down. The front was completely gone. So that's the only thing that saved her life. Myself and Lieutenant Gruber were talking earlier. We go to a lot of different crashes. Every single day we go to numerous crashes, whether it's at 2 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And there are far more crashes that the cause of the accident is distracted driving, whether it's text message, whether it's eating, whether it's putting on makeup, whether it's looking over and changing the radio station. So many more accidents are caused by distracted driving than we can prove because it comes to the fact of the driver or a witness stating, no, this person was sending a text message, or this person was putting on makeup, or I seen this person look down and then reach down towards the floorboard. So the only thing that I can say to you is not one of these things, distracted driving, is worth getting into an accident and killing yourself, killing somebody else, or getting yourself seriously hurt, or getting somebody else seriously hurt. Everything that you're doing while you're driving can wait until you're done. There's not one thing that's so important that you have to do it at that time. We want to see every single one of you and everybody else on that road get home safe, because we don't want to show up to a crash and to pick up the pieces of you and then have to go tell your mom and dad that you didn't make it home. So be careful. I think that's pretty much it.
Ladies and gentlemen, next you'll hear from a man who knows only too well how costly distracted driving is. You've seen him on TV. You've seen him giving us the latest on the Buckeyes, the Blue Jackets, the Clippers, or the Crew. You've heard him report your own high school sports scores, perhaps. Today he has something more serious and more personal to report. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dom Tiberi.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. I've always had a warm spot in my heart for this part of the state of Ohio. I don't know how many of you guys know this, but my grandmother and grandfather were from up here. And so when I was a little boy, I used to come up here to Marion, and I used to enjoy going to the fair. And we would come up here to Popcorn Festival. You guys still have that, right? Still go to it? But this is my 87th high school, and as I said, I'm really pleased to be here. I would much rather be talking to you guys about Buckeye football, the presidents, your sports teams. I've always had great respect, but I'm here today as Dom Tiberi, father, and I'm Maria's dad, and I'm going to tell you guys like it is. It sucks that she's gone. I miss her so bad. It is just awful. I want to thank these fine police officers for being here today. I want to thank our friends from Mary Insurance. I couldn't do this without our friends from Mary Insurance. Let's have a round of applause for those guys. They get it. I'm here for two reasons, guys. The first reason, and if you take nothing from this today, this is the most important thing that you need to take. You're loved, your lives are important, and people care about you. If you don't listen to anything else I say today, remember that. You matter. Your lives matter. The second reason I'm here is because I couldn't bring her home. I had to leave my baby, and I don't want that for any of you guys. Look, I know what it's like to be 16, 17, 18 years old. You don't have a care in the world. And I was thinking on the way up here today about the tragedy that happened in Las Vegas. 59 people went to a concert. 59 people killed. Over 200 and some people wounded. And they were at a concert. Didn't have a care in the world. Supposed to be happy. Nothing in life is guaranteed, guys. Nothing in life. Those people didn't go to the concert that night thinking they were going to get shot, thinking that some maniac up in a building was going to open with machine gun fire. The lesson is, life is fragile, and you just don't know. And when it comes to the leading killer of your age group, it's car crashes. And it's so preventable. Nobody ever thinks it's going to happen to them. It's always going to be the other guy. But I'm here to tell you, I'm the other guy. I never thought it'd be me. How many of you driving now? How many of you had a wreck? Raise your hands. How many of you know someone that's had a wreck? Keep them up. Look at how many hands are up. Keep them up. How many of you know someone that's been killed in a car crash? Keep them up. As you look around, look at all those hands that are up. We ought to be asking, why not me? Why can't it happen to me? That's scary, all the hands that are up. Why not me? You know, in the video you heard me say, the age group 8 to 24, the leading killers, car crashes. And the roads that you guys drive on every day, the roads that you guys drive on every day are the roads that we see horrific crashes. That's what happens. Even the roads you drive on, young lady. Hey, ma'am, do you want to come down and talk? Yeah, you. No, the lady there that's got, how about if you pay attention? How about that? The roads that you drive on every day are the roads that we see horrific crashes on. Every day that you guys drive on. And only you can do something about it. I know how important high school is. I know how important your friends are, your boyfriends. This is the best time of your lives. Your friends are so important that you're constantly texting each other. You're sitting with them right now. And when you're not texting each other, you're sending Snapchats, Instagrams. And when you're together, you're having sleepovers. But I want you to think about something. Think about how important that person is in your life. And imagine tonight, they don't come home. Imagine tonight you get a phone call and they say your best friend, your boyfriend, your girlfriend's been killed. And the next time you see them, they're laying in a casket. I don't have to imagine. I don't have to imagine. And it sucks. It is terrible. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for your families. I don't want that for your friends. I want you to think about something. How about if it's you that don't get to come home tonight? What would that do to your parents? What would that do to your grandparents, to your brothers, your sisters? They look up to you. That's the reality of this. Guys, there's no do-overs from death, no second chances. I'm here as an advocate for your parents. If your mom and dad are asking, where are you going? Who are you hanging out with? What time are you going to be home? And I can hear all of you. I bet you say, oh, Mom, you worry too much. Dad, you worry too much. You don't understand. Guess what? They do understand. And the reason they worry is the same reason that I worried, because you just never know. You know, Maria, September 17th, she had worked all day. She came home and she told us she was going to the library at 9:30 at night down to Ohio State. Maria had just moved back home. She was about your size, not a very big girl, but she had a lot of spirit. And she was 21 and she had just moved back home, and she reminded me that when she moved back home, there'd be no restrictions, that she could come and go as she pleased. And I said, Maria, you're not going to the library at 9:30 at night. And she reminded me that, you know, I worried too much, that she was 21. I said she could come and go, and I said, you're right, just don't be late. Well, she wasn't really going to the library. Her sister was working down at a bar down in the short north, the Arena District, I guess, and it was a slow night, and Maria was going to go hang with her. Maria left the house at 10:38 at night. She walked out the door, and my wife said, I love you, Maria. And Maria said, I love you more. I did not know that'd be the last time I heard her. She got in the car and left. I waited and waited and waited, and I wanted her home. But I was wondering where she was. It's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. She said she wasn't going to be long. So I wanted to pick that phone up 100 times and call her and say, where are you? I sit in what I call my worry chair. Every one of your parents have a worry chair. When you're out of the house, we worry. We worry till you come home. So I waited and I waited, and finally at 2:25 in the morning, I heard a car door shut, dogs started barking, and my heart fluttered, and I said, she's home. Then something weird happened. The doorbell rang 5 times really, really fast, and I'm going, what the heck is she doing? Her mom has to work. And as I walked down the hall, I had an uneasy feeling. And I looked out the window, and there were 7 policemen standing on my front porch, and one of them said, Chaplain. I have things in my head that I can't get out of. I have nightmares that I can't forget. And one of them is when I opened that door, and the chief said, did Maria drive a red car? And I said, yes, sir. And he said, I don't know how to tell you this. She was in a horrible crash, and she didn't survive. What I didn't know until that moment is that at 10:38 she left, not even 5 miles from our house, not even 5 minutes after leaving. Something caused her to slam into the back of a semi-truck at 53 miles an hour, and my baby was killed. That quick, it was over. And I've always prided myself on being strong and being a tough guy. I'm going to tell you guys something. It breaks my heart, and I can't get it out of my head. I went to that hospital, and my little angel was laying on a gurney. And I walked in and out of that room, must have been 10 times. I didn't want to leave her. I did not want to leave her. And I'm telling you guys, I don't want you left. I don't want that for your family. I don't want that for your parents. I don't want that for your friends. And that's the part of this that is so much of a nightmare that I want to wake up from. I couldn't bring my baby home. And, you know, one day you guys are going to get this. One day your parents are going to become very smart people. Right now, you got all the answers and your parents are not very bright. But one day you're going to be parents and you're going to understand true worry. You think you worry about things now? Once you have a baby, once you're a mother, once you're a father, you're going to understand what true love is, and it's unconditional love. See, you guys aren't puppy dogs. You are loved, and I'm telling you, if your parents want to know what you're up to and they're getting into your business, and if they tell you no, what they're really saying to you is that they love you. They love you because they care enough to want to know what you're up to. You know, nobody ever wants a police officer till there's one not around. I can't imagine the hell that these guys live with daily. Can you imagine coming upon a scene, seeing a kid in there that you might know, having to cut that child out, lifeless, and then go wake up a mom and dad and say your baby girl or son's not coming home? That's the reality of this, guys. It's not a video game. This is the truth of it. And, you know, I've been to 87 high schools, and I've had kids say, I wish I would have listened to you, my friend. When you said, what would it be like without my friend? I don't want you guys to find that out. I'm here to tell you, it can happen. It's the leading killer of your age group. And, you know, we need leaders. We need people to stand up and say, you know what? Enough is enough. In 2017, it's ridiculous that the leading killer of us, of our age group, is car crashes. And only one person can fix it, you. Guys, we need defensive drivers. When you're driving the car, you drive it like you got precious cargo in there, because you do. As I said in the very beginning, your lives matter, you're loved. Love yourselves enough to take care of yourself. If you see kids, homecomings this week, you're all going to have a lot of fun. Homecomings this week. If you see kids that are drinking, don't let them drive. If you see kids that are smoking, don't let them drive. If you're with a kid and he's a habitual texter, or she's a habitual texter, Snapchat, Instagram, while they're driving, tell them to pull over, because it's not worth it. This quick, it can be over. And unfortunately, we all make stupid decisions, and sometimes you can't live with the decision. You know, there's a reason why the state of Ohio has the laws they have on the books. 2 summers ago, Johnstown, Ohio, I don't know if you guys heard about this, there was 5 kids in the car, ages 15 to 17. The boy driving was 16 years old. He had his license for 2 months. Beginning of summer, they didn't have a care in the world. They're loving life, driving down the road. Probably had smoked a little marijuana. Oh, it's harmless, nothing bad's gonna happen. High rate of speed, 2-lane highways, the kind of roads you guys drive on every single day. That boy driving was going fast, lost control. His car hit a tree so hard that the car broke in half, literally broke in half. The 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy, all 15. No one had a seatbelt on in the back, killed instantly. The boy driving, he didn't have a seatbelt on, traumatic brain injury. No matter how he recovers, now the boy in the passenger seat, his cousin, seatbelt on, he survived. But can you imagine being the boy driving that car? The guilt. They didn't leave the house that day for 3 of them to die, but it happened. Could you imagine having to live with that? We were just out having fun, just goofing off. And now he's got to live with that. I don't want that for you guys. You know, we can tell you till the cows come home what distracted driving is, and it's very easy. It's anything that takes your hands, eyes, or mind off your driving. Yes, it's texting. Yes, girls, it's putting makeup on. It is playing with the phone. It is drinking and driving. It is doing drugs and driving. It's anything that takes your hands, eyes, or mind off your driving. When you drive, especially on the roads that you guys drive every day, drive the car like everyone around you is an idiot and not paying attention, because they probably are. And you need to drive it to protect yourself. Always leave yourself a way out. Always look at the oncoming traffic. Pay attention. You know, as you came in, you picked up a pledge card. And if you think this is all BS and it's not going to happen to me and it's not going to happen to my friends, God bless you. We're cool. Thanks for listening to me. But I come here, I pour my heart out to you because I care what happens to you. I don't want this for you, your friends, or your family. So I ask that you take this pledge and let's adhere to it. And this goes for the teachers and the adults too. We all need to do a better job. We need to set a better example for our children because they're watching. We all need to just drive the car. But I ask that you repeat after me, take the pledge, sign the card. We don't ask for any personal information other than your name, and then tear it off, and as you leave, drop it off. And I want you guys to have a great homecoming. And the one thing I don't want to hear on Saturday or Sunday, get a call, did you hear what happened up in Marion? I don't want that for any of you guys. I don't want to hear that. That would just, I want you guys to have a great weekend, but be smart. Please repeat after me. I pledge to keep my hands on the wheel, keep my eyes on the road, keep my mind on my driving. If I keep my hands, eyes, and mind where they should be, I can keep myself safe and keep Maria's message alive. I would like to finish by saying I know it's a heavy topic. I know you guys probably don't want to hear it, and believe me, I wish I didn't have to share it. But in closing, Maria's message is truly a message of love. I promise you that your parents and your family love you. I promise you that the administrators here love you. These police officers love you. And I promise that I love you or I wouldn't be here. All we're asking is that you guys love yourselves enough to keep yourself safe and keep Maria's message alive. Have a great homecoming weekend. Be smart, be safe, and be presidential.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are signing your pledge cards, if you would, please join me in thanking the Marion Police Department, Erie Insurance, Dom Tiberi, and Maria's message, and the local support you have here from the city and the schools with one more round of applause.